Hi guys, I'm just going to check my watch to tell me it's recording because I've just been speaking to a camera that hasn't been recording for the past 10 or so minutes and then just realised that the stuff I was saying, which was excellent by the way, hasn't recorded at all. So if the vein in my head's coming out a little bit, it's because I'm a little bit annoyed about that. So I'm starting again from scratch here. Welcome guys. What really cheered me up today was when I looked on Teams and 100% of both classes have logged on to Teams last week to complete those 2 lessons. I lose sleep at night sometimes thinking, are they getting the help that they need? Do they understand the work? Are they going to be alright when they come back? And it really made my day to see that every single person, so almost 60 of you, logged on and did the work. Me and Mr. Brownsell are buzzing. So we're cracking on this week. We're going to take it up a notch. I've uploaded the files for you to look at. So you've got the PowerPoint, obviously this video, and there's a couple of other documents there. Don't worry about clicking on the documents yet because I've assigned them to you. So you should have 3 assignments. The first assignment is a table, resource, and some information. Second assignment is, so let me go back to the start. That's where I got up to before. The second assignment is a quiz, and then the third assignment is a 6-mark answer. Now today's lesson is a bit of a chunky one, so because I'm a legend, you'll notice I wrote in the post section, we're only doing 1 lesson this week because it's a bit of a bigger one. So what I'd suggest is you can either do it as 1, it's still probably a little shorter than what 2 lessons would have been, so you can still do it in 1 go, I would say. You could also split it in half if you wanted to, and remember interleaving is a really useful tool and it helps things stick in our brain more if we chunk things up and do it over time and maybe do some other subjects in between. So you could probably do it that way as well if you find a good point to stop the video, but if you'd prefer just to crack on and just get through it, I absolutely understand that, probably do the same myself. So today's lesson we're looking at the consequences of a sedentary lifestyle. So you've got 2 questions here that are a bit of a recall task. Those questions are on your quiz, so don't worry about doing those yet. You could just have a quick think about them though to get the brain ticking over. So before we look at what the consequences are of a sedentary lifestyle, we need to know what one is, and we need to break it down really. So where have you heard the word sedentary before? There's nothing really in the word that gives us a clue of what it means, if we don't know what it means already, but we may have just heard if something's sedentary, what is it? Could we take a guess at what that means? Could we attempt to swap a word in and swap a word out to give us an idea of what that sentence means? So have a think. If you're still not sure, I mean, I've written on here to discuss with a partner, and I was going to take that out because that's what we would have done in class, but then I thought you've still got partners at home, so you could ask someone at home, see what they think it means. Some adults might not even know what it means. It's not a term that's always used. So if you've got someone in the next room or someone in the same room, just ask them, pause the video, see what they think, see if you can work out what we might be talking about today. So there's different ways that you can sort of explain a sedentary lifestyle, different words you can use, but the basic way of saying it is it's a lifestyle that is seriously lacking, so it hasn't got a lot of physical activity or exercise. So you might have heard the phrase a couch potato before. The word couch potato, where they do nothing, pretty much describes a sedentary lifestyle. Sometimes it's not through choice. Sometimes people find it difficult to be active and exercise. If someone has an office job where they're stuck behind a desk quite a lot, and they work long hours, they might find it hard to do exercise afterwards, and their job doesn't involve them standing up or walking around, so that is difficult for them to actually come away from a sedentary lifestyle. And there's quite a few people who might struggle with that. Me personally, I'm quite fortunate. I'm always up on my feet when I'm teaching. I've never sat down so much in this isolation period. So I'm quite lucky, and that's before I even exercise really. So today we're going to look at what this causes really, or what it can lead to. So you've got a splash page here. You don't really have to write anything down. You can either look on the PowerPoint slide. I'm hoping you can see this slide. I've lost my workstation. I used to have loads of cardboard boxes that held up my my phone. I threw them out without thinking because they were getting in the way, and I was running out of things to do. So now I have a footstool, a table, another mini table, a board game, and then my phone on top. So I'm hoping it still works and you can still see it. You've got a splash page here. Have a look. You can split these into two. Look out for the things that can be caused by a sedentary lifestyle and the things that are caused by an active lifestyle. There should be 7 for a sedentary lifestyle, I think. So there we go, we've got them list for you. Did you get the same? Have a think, have a check, just have a read of them to see. I'm not going to spend too much time going through these things. I'm just going to pick out osteoporosis in case you've not heard of that before. Osteoporosis is basically where you have brittle bones or weak bones. If you don't do something called weight-bearing activity, which you may have heard me say before, you're more likely to have to develop osteoporosis where your bones break more easily. Now, weight-bearing activity is activity where you are carrying your own weight. So I'm stood up now, so this is weight bearing. If I was to go for a run, weight bearing. Football, weight bearing. Dance, weight bearing. If I was to swim or cycle, that would not be weight bearing because the bike would hold my weight, the water would hold my weight. When you're weight bearing, your bones get used to doing so, to holding that weight, and then become denser and stronger because of it. For the rest of these, you're going to get a text in a minute that will describe why a consequence of a sedentary lifestyle can lead to these. So I'm not going to waste your time with the video because I'm going to try and keep it short again. So the first task that you've been assigned is this one. So you have been assigned on Microsoft Word, on Teams, this table. Underneath there are some descriptions. I've made them a bit tricky on purpose to challenge you guys. They're articles from around the web, which sort of talk about the article clips. Don't worry, it's not a massive list of articles, not like a magazine, just little clips, and they explain how a sedentary lifestyle, how a lack of exercise could lead to these things here. And I say could because there will be other factors that could lead to these things, that could lead to depression, that could lead to diabetes or loss of muscle tone. But a sedentary lifestyle is quite a big factor, so it's really important to look at. So look at those article clips. If you're using it online, I would recommend getting the highlighting tool and just highlighting the main points. That will really help you pick out the information. It's almost a bit like comprehension almost. And use that information that you've highlighted to briefly describe and explain how a sedentary lifestyle could lead to depression. So no more than 2 sentences in each box. Okay, that's really important. I don't need to spend ages copying stuff out. It's pointless. Yeah, summarise so that you can keep it, you could use for revision. You could print this out and do it offline if you wanted, but I'd prefer it if I can see the work that you've done on Microsoft Teams. So you've got that work to do. Pause the video. What I would recommend is, if you're lucky enough to have a laptop and or a tablet to use your phone to watch this video on YouTube, on our Year 9 channel, on the PE YouTube channel, so you can work alongside me talking. And that's probably the best way that you can access this work. So pause it. I'll meet you on the next slide. So usually in class I would go through and recap the points and make sure you guys all understand. I'm not going to recap and go through how sedentary lifestyle causes every one of those 7 things because the video will just be too long. So if you have any questions, write them down if you're still not sure, or research, better yet research online. But if you're still struggling, write the questions down, come and ask me whenever we're back in school. I will happily help you out. We're going to move on to a slightly similar topic. Slightly different topic, but it links really well in. So we're just going to talk about this now. You see 5 different versions of the same person here, and we've got 3 definitions. So if someone's overweight, they've got more weight than is considered normal for someone their height, sex and age. You've got the over fat definition, which is where someone has a higher percentage of body fat that is normal. So if someone's over fat, for men it would be over 19%, that's an adult man, and an adult woman would be 26%. And then obese, it's a little bit further, so basically overweight and over fat to an excessive amount, and that is when a male has more than 20% body fat, a woman was 35%. So that's when someone would be considered to be obese. You may have heard of the phrase the BMI chart. It's a bit old school, but basically you look at someone's height and look at someone's weight, and you would decide which bracket you fall into, whether obese, overweight, underweight, normal, or extremely underweight. That's a bit old school because you could be quite short and still and heavy, but it would be the muscle that's heavy, not fat. So it's a bit old school, because if someone's short and muscular, you could be said that you're obese, but actually you're really not, because your body fat percentage might only be around about 11%. So it's a bit old school. There's other ways we can measure that, and we'll do that at another time when we're looking at fitness testing. So a quick task is just to try and work out which one's which on these 5. So which one's overweight, which one's over fat, which one's obese. You may get asked to do this in an exam to pick it out. I doubt it. I've seen it on the old spec, but I'd be surprised if it came up again. But we need to know just in case. What you need to know more will be these definitions instead, are probably the more important things. So overweight, over fat, obese. Not going to spend too long on this. It should be quite self-explanatory, hopefully. Like I say, if you've got any questions, note it down, bring it in to me. Or better yet, you could leave me a note on your document, on your last document, maybe put it in red or something, and I'll be able to see that and get back to you, hopefully. Okay, if you do want to pause and split the lesson up, that's fine. This is probably a good place to do it. If not, let's crack on. So, check I'm still recording. Yeah, still recording. So, I've set you another assignment, and this is the quiz. So that's the questions from before that I talked about. You've got these questions here, and then another question. You've been given a data task here, and the reason why is that data is its own little section on both exams, and this topic in particular lends itself really well to data analysis and survey data and looking at that, because there's loads of it out there. So it felt like a really good place to put that section of the exam into this topic. So that's why it's quite big, but I still wanted to do a 6-mark question, which is coming in a second. So that's why we're doing it now. You've been given 2 different graphs. Data on boys and girls, and percentage of people who are overweight from 1994 to 2014. And then different age groups, so 2 to 5, 6 to 10, and 11 to 15 years old. The question asks you to analyse the data in the graphs, and then based on age and gender. So, straight away we need to work out the 2 main things from this question. First thing, I'm hoping you've gone straight to it. You've gone, bam, analyse. That tells us how we need to answer the question. An analyse question is almost always 2 statements. Yeah? So 2 statements. Answer, answer. Yeah? And then answer, answer again. So answer, 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 answer. Usually just pretty simple as that. So it tells us how we need to answer that. We need to look for changing patterns. Yeah. and we need to make sure it's on age and gender. So 2 for each. If you put 3 for age and 1 for gender, you're wasting your time. Okay, it's got to be 2 for each. So I'm not going to go through this answer and give you the answers. I'll help you with one, and then you're going to head to the quiz and do that. So if we look, let's go for age first, and let's pick girls, for example. We need to look for a changing pattern in obesity levels in this graph here. I've chosen to do the girls one. So straight away I'm going, right, well, look at this gradient here. That's increased massively there from 1999 to 2004 for 6 to 10 year olds. Here, look at that, it's huge. Okay, so straight away I'm going to say the percentage of people who are overweight in 1999 to 2004 has gone up by 6% for 6 to 10 year olds. Got to make sure you get all the information in there. That's a statement, full stop, done, 1 mark, bosh. Yeah, simple as that. So hopefully you'll know that to get the next mark for age, I'll need to do the same again, but talk about a different point from one of these graphs. I'd probably go to the boys one. And then you're going to do the same for gender. So head to the quiz. There's other questions on there as well, so answer them there. Some of them are self-marking, some of them unfortunately aren't for the way the form works. But hopefully you've got the idea of that there. Okay. This is a backup link if you want to click the link to get to the quiz. I've assigned it to you, so go through the assignments. That's the best way to do it. Okay, this is another good place to pause it if you wanted to and then come back to it, or if not, let's just crack on. So we've got a 6 mark question. Yep. And what I've been wanting to do, what my aim was if we weren't off school at the moment, was to look at the different command words and how we answer them. And that would really push us on and really give us a good understanding of how to answer exams, because we're already amazing, doing really well on our progress tests. And this is a next stage, as well as learning content, obviously. So we're looking at explain questions here. You'll get loads of them. They're probably the biggest command, the most prevalent, the most common command word you will see on our exam. Today's we're going to look at sedentary lifestyle, obviously. So explain how a sedentary lifestyle can impact upon a person's well-being. This one says 6 marks, and on the exam, this is another year 11 exam question that you are more than capable of doing. It splits it into 3. So when it splits it into, it splits it into 2, 3 marks each. And when it does that, we go, right, we need 2 separate sort of causes of a sedentary lifestyle. 2 things that a sedentary lifestyle causes. So just to give you a little bit of a help out, because I'm not there to sort of give you a little clue to start with, I've just copy and pasted the first section of the mark scheme. I've not given the actual answers, but the first section of the mark scheme. And what you'll notice here is we've got assessment objectives. And it tells you which one the examiners are looking for. Now, unfortunately, with explain questions, there's no set sort of pattern I could teach you to know how to answer those explain questions. Sometimes it will ask for an AO3 instead of 2 AO2s. But generally, you've got to work out, you have to work out what the question's asking of you. That's the best way to do that. So basically what you're looking to do is, in those 2, when it's split into 2, you're looking for 2 statements. So for the first 3 marks, 1 statement and 2 AO2, so 2 explanations. Okay? And then for the second one, do the same. So, for example, let's think of the first one, which would be, I don't know, let's pick one out at random. So increased risk of osteoporosis. Yeah? So that is caused, so for basically, first of all, you say a sedentary lifestyle causes a higher chance of getting osteoporosis, full stop. 1 mark, job done, there's your AO1. Your second mark is because you would say, this is because a sedentary lifestyle has a lack of weight-bearing activity. Full stop. That's your second mark. You've given an explanation to the statement. You've got 2 marks so far. But you could take that statement, that explanation, and take it a step further, couldn't you? You could explain it a little further. And those articles that you read will probably give you all the marks there. So we've said a sedentary lifestyle could lead to an increased risk of osteoporosis. This is because there's a lack of weight-bearing activity when you're doing no exercise. And then the third mark will come from, this is because weight-bearing activity would help to increase the bone density in the bones and give them less chance of breaking. Okay, so there's your 3 marks there. You might use other words to explain that. It's actually harder to do it verbally than it is writing down. So you might use other words to explain that, but there's your 3 marks that I just explained there. Try and use 2 other consequences rather than osteoporosis, but if you're struggling, no worries, use what I've just said. You could even replay the video back to what I've just said on YouTube or Teams or whatever if you are struggling. Okay, I've assigned this to you on Teams as a form, not as a form, sorry, as an assignment. So what you could actually do, this is the same for the other Word document, is click on the 3 little dots and it says open in Word Online. If you go on Word Online, you can type it there, it saves automatically and I get to see that. I'd really prefer if you can do that, if you've got the capability of doing it. If you're adamant you want to write it down and do it at home, I'm not going to argue with you. You do what's best for you, but I'd prefer it personally if you did it online and I could see it. Because it gives me an idea if the work I'm setting is too hard, too easy, just right, if people are understanding it, of what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so use this. At the bottom of, in fact, I'll do the next slide. You go and do that, I'll see you on the next slide. Okay, so hopefully you've written your 6 mark answer now, 3 marks, 3 marks. The lesson's not over when we finish the answer, we need to self-assess. So I put the mark scheme underneath the bottom of the page that you should have been using to answer. I don't have to tell you guys, you don't cheat on that one. Just test yourself first and then mark it for yourself. That's the best way you can learn independently like that. So it's given us 4 examples. You are not stuck to these 4 examples. There are loads of consequences of a sedentary lifestyle. As long as you've given one and explained it using 2 separate points, you're onto a winner. I obviously can't be there to say, yeah, those 2 points are right, those 2 explanations are right, but what you can do is you can read these 4 statements here and see if your answer flows like these ones. If it flows like these ones, it's almost definitely right, okay? So for example, let's go through it. Let's look to see where the AO1 and the 2 AO2s are. So reduces the chance of coronary heart disease, 1 mark. There's your statement, AO1. By reducing resting blood pressure, 2nd mark, AO2. Okay, remember we're looking for another AO2 mark here. So through the removal of cholesterol from the walls of the arteries, AO2, another 1 mark there. The reason it's AO2 and not AO3 is 2 explanations. It's 2 how has this happened, why has this happened. So let's look at it again. So you've got your statement. So why does it reduce the chance of coronary heart disease? Because it reduces resting blood pressure. But how does it reduce resting blood pressure? Because through the removal of cholesterol from the walls and the arteries. So if you were struggling to answer, what I would do if I were you is just make a note and say, for an explain question, a lot of the time it will be statement, why, how. Yeah? Let's see if that works again. It might be a little bit different for this one, but it's almost going to be identical. So reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes, statement AO1, by reducing the body's need for insulin. So there's your why. That's the how in fact, as the exercise helps to maintain a healthy weight. That's a why, so it's done it how then why this time. But still got those 2 marks in there. Next one, reduces the risk of a stroke, statement, by increasing levels of high density lipoprotein. Don't worry about if you don't know what lipoprotein is yet. I didn't want to bombard you with loads of information. We will get to that at another time. It's basically just a type of protein. And then to do with fat, to using fat. So there's a how, and then by enabling appropriate blood flow through the body. So there you've got the why, or another how again if you see it that way. Last one, reduce the risk of long-term stress or depression statement by increasing endorphin levels or serotonin. So that's how, providing a feel-good factor. Another how. So it's basically it's just a good explanation. It's a real simple thing. The question statement, and then it's a good explanation using 2 points. Yeah. So it's almost like your appeal in English. Yeah. Point, evidence, explanation. So there's your answers. You will only be able to work out if your answer flows like this. You may have used something like this or these actual answers. If not, just quickly in green text on the thing, just adapt it where you've gone wrong. So when I look at your work, I should be able to see your answer, and then so let's say you got 4 out of 6. If you did, great, well done. And that's a year 11 question, so that's essentially a grade 6. Then in green text, just underneath each 3, where you're supposed to get 3 marks, just put in where you've missed the marks. So I should see black text, then green text, and then I should see, with the use of the green text, a full 6 marks out of 6. Okay. Once you've done that, the lesson's done. Well done. Dead proud of you. I keep saying that, but I am, so I'm not going to lie. Hopefully you're keeping active. The weather's been nice last week. Apparently it's going to get a little bit colder, so but actually when it's colder sometimes it's better running weather, isn't it, as well? So make sure you're staying active and keep it interesting. Don't do the same exercises all the time. If you don't want to let tedium get involved, which is where you get bored. So keep doing that. Keep setting yourself challenges, and keep up the good work, guys. I'm crossing my fingers that I'll find out soon when we get to see you again. I'm genuinely missing teaching you guys. I hope you miss the lessons too. I probably know the answer to that though. But hopefully see you soon, guys. All the best.